global warming sometimes live in a different world that people are concerned about healthcare. And they don't realize that global warming will create the biggest healthcare problem that we've ever faced. We can't separate and compartmentalize these issues. We need people from different disciplines working together on these big issues that will affect our society. One of the things that is always at the top of my list, and I think this is the biggest, most systemic challenge that we face, and that is that business is able to externalize its costs. You go into the grocery store and you want to buy an organic apple or a traditional apple, and you might notice that the traditional apple costs more money. I'm sorry, it should be that way. The organic apple costs more money. Now, why is that? Why is it that the organic apple, this apple that should be better for you, it's better for the planet, costs more? Well, it's very simple, because the traditional apple that might have been grown with pesticides and fertilizer doesn't pay the cost of that impact on the environment. The traditional apple doesn't pay to clean up the groundwater that's polluted with pesticides, or the health impact on the farm worker who breathed in those pesticides when they were taking care of the tree. So we have this artificial world where the good stuff often costs more than the bad stuff. And it's only because we have a system. And that system allows us as businesses to not be responsible and pass on to our customers the full cost and the full impact of what we do. And until we begin to tackle this very, very complicated, difficult issue head on, I think that we will make very slow progress. Now, the legislation that we're debating in the states, cap and trade legislation, is one small piece of what's required. This also, the next point relates to something that Ray said, which is we often confuse being less bad with being good. And they're very, very different. I know that is much, we have fans of seventh generation products in the office. We have wonderful retail partners that have helped grow our business 50% last year. But I also have to acknowledge that everything we sell is less bad than the other products that are made by our competitors. And we can't confuse ourselves thinking that we're going to save the world because we're selling these green products. No, what we're doing is slowing the rate of deterioration by using less resources and creating less pollution. And what we really need to do is we need to come up with solutions, as Ray said, that are regenerative, because our world is in danger. And we can't just stop the deterioration. We have to figure out ways of repairing the damage. And we do that with things like sustainable palm oil, where we thought years ago, we said, well, we're using vegetable ingredients instead of petroleum, so that must be good. We're doing the right thing when we make our cleaning products. Well, what did we find out? We found out that to grow that palm oil, they've cleared half the island of Indonesia, and they're creating a gigantic global warming problem by burning down trees so that they can put up palm oil plantations. And by God, it might be true that it's better to use petroleum than it is to wipe out a whole country to grow palm in these plantations. So sometimes doing the right thing isn't easy, and we have now worked hard to only use sustainably grown palm oil that today comes at a higher price. So how am I doing on time? Have I seen the 1 minute flash yet? No, I got a few extra seconds. So I'll end with one idea, two ideas. One idea is that one of the great opportunities that business has is to enroll not just your employees, but all of your customers and your supply chain in this wonderful activity of addressing these challenging problems. And we just launched, I'm sadly not as familiar with your chemical regulations in Canada as I am in the United States, but in the United States we have TSCA, which is decades out of date. And it basically means that you can put virtually any chemical on the marketplace without having it tested by a third party. And we now know that many of the environmental health problems that we're facing are because of the lack of regulation of chemicals. So we came up with an idea. We said, you know what, everyone has these events in Washington. So we decided we're gonna have a different event. We're gonna have a million babies crawl to Washington to demand safer products and safer chemicals. And while these babies can't stand up, they stand for something. And so you can help us by going to themillionbabycrawl.com and creating a crawler who is going to go to Washington and demand change. And we have built a coalition of 50 NGOs, from nurses to Americans with disabilities. We have brought together almost the entire landscape of organizations who care about this to all support a single initiative that will create a healthier and safer future for our children. And this is a lot of what Seventh Generation stands for. This is a lot of what passes for marketing, because we do our marketing by going out into the world and doing good things. And we believe that that's the best kind of marketing, because it's the kind of marketing that creates value for everyone who sees it and hears about it. So lastly, I just want to say that in terms of leadership, and again, this is something that Ray has touched on several times, I think the most important thing that a leader can do is inspire the potential of others. And I don't think we do such a good job with that. When you look at the statistics of how satisfied most people are with their job, we talk a lot about the incredible importance of human potential. And then as soon as the numbers go the wrong way, the first thing most companies do is fire a lot of people so that they can meet their quarterly numbers. And to me, this is mind-boggling that with one moment, someone can be up on the podium talking about investing in their people, and then the numbers go the wrong way and those people are just gone, and they're replaced by someone else. So I think that we really need, and I think that innovation and long-term success will come from exponential contributions from the people who work at our companies. And it's one of those places where 1 + 1 can't just equal 3. 1 + 1 can really equal 11. And that's what we're going to need to do to solve the problems we're facing. Thank you very much.